Hi there and welcome to my channel. This project is for the Altenew June 2019 release of a new set of standalone dies that are to die for. And in this project, I'm going to use actually one of them. This is the color wheel die and I loved it. And the reason why I was really drawn to this die is because it reminded me of a color wheel. Not only that, but I thought about color. I have a color wheel at home, so I was thinking I want to incorporate it into a layout by creating a rainbow. So you're gonna see this is actually a two-piece die. It's one cuts the big circumference, and then you can glue the second part. I attach it with washi tape, and that's gonna give you the inside, all the little spots where you have the different colors. So what I've done is I use a little bit of washi tape to keep it together, and then I just run it through my die cutting machine. I cut 4 color wheels out of white cardstock. I'm only gonna end up using 3 because I'm gonna take one of them and cut it in half and use it to create my layout. So the way I envision it is I wanted to have each one of the color wheels to represent a color. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna create a rainbow. And for this I'm pulling papers. These are all papers from the reflection kit from Altenew. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start backing some of the areas of the color wheel. At the beginning I thought I'm just gonna go ahead and start working, just filling the entire color wheel by going in a rainbow manner and kind of going in an ombre style or a gradation of color. But when I start backing up the paper, I wanted to leave some empty space, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna use that empty space to bring in some mixed media. So you're gonna see right now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna literally start gluing some of the papers to the background. The way I went about it is if I added purple and it had a little bit of orange, then the next color I was gonna pick up is some orange. You're gonna see that I work out so that I have a wheel that has warm tones, yellows and oranges and a little bit of red. And then the next one, I'm gonna start with a bit of yellow and go into the greens and the blues. And then the last one, I'm gonna go from the blues to the fuchsias to the purples. That's pretty much the way I thought about it. And I'm gonna take it off camera right now because I made a mistake right now too. You're gonna see that I'm skipping like every other triangle, and here I skipped 2. So I had an empty space, but it's okay. It's gonna get covered by the picture anyways. So once I have all the color wheels backed with paper, I'm just gonna start kind of creating the design that I have in mind. And it's gonna be a vertical design. I have this picture of my daughter, and she's also crafty. Don't tell her I say that. But so she likes to doodle on some stuff, and I have this picture of her just sitting across from me, and she's doodling some calligraphy that she found in a quote, and she's doing a rainbow style. So I just took the picture. I pretty much just kept what she doodled in color, and everything else black and white. And I'm going to use it as a centerpiece for this layout. So you're going to see that all I'm doing right now is I'm arranging the color wheels. I've already gone ahead and cut one of it because, like I said, I know I'm going to use just half of it, and I'm going with a vertical design. And all I'm doing right now is, now that I have them in order, I'm going to add a little bit of glue behind them just to keep them in the order they're going to go, so they won't move, and I know exactly where I'm going to add my mixed media. So for adding my mixed media, I am working with this is marshmallow cardstock from Basel, which is a double cardstock, the thicker cardstock, so it's gonna hold the mixed media really well. And I'm gonna bring the 36 pan watercolor set from Altenew. I love this watercolor set. The colors are very vibrant. And I started with working with my little acrylic block, just adding the pigment in this case, or the watercolor to it, and just stamping it. But you know what? I just want to really something. I'm gonna say messy because it is gonna be messy, but it's a super simple mixed media, and all it is the splatters and a little bit of movement. So you're gonna see that I'm adding a little bit of water to the paper, and then I'm gonna add some of the pigment, in this case the watercolor, and just gonna help move it a little bit. So when I add the water to the paper, because it's thick, it's gonna stay a little bit on the surface, and then I'm adding the pigment, and I'm just gonna kind of push the pigment into the water, and that's gonna create that big puddle of color, and then I'm just gonna add splatters. Now once the color mixes, you're gonna see that I've come in with a little piece of paper towel, and I'm gonna soak up the excess water. I don't want it to stand there because it's just gonna soak into the paper and cause a lot of buckling. And I'm gonna let that little yellow orangey color sit aside for a little bit to dry, and I'm gonna start working on the upper part of the layout. So you're gonna see that I flipped the page at 180, and I'm gonna bring tones of red, and I'm gonna go into the fuchsias, because those are some of the tones that I have on the other side, that kind of that corally tone. So I'm using a lot of reds towards, but with warm tones in it. So fuchsias, a little bit of pink and red. Now that I have the yellow and I'm going to set that aside to dry, I'm going to go again, turn the page 180 because I don't want to have the colors model. I want to have the definition of colors. So I'm going to go into the blues. I'm going to bring a little bit of the navy, and then I'm going to bring a little bit of the turquoise color. And you're going to see that when I add those, I'm going to start a little bit of green. The green part is the one that is going to be underneath the picture. So I'm just going to add a few accents, not too much because I'm going to cover with the picture. But before I do that, I'm going to add a little bit of the purples. I'm bringing some of the fuchsia that I added to the top part of the layout so that I have the two colors combined. And I'm going to work in the purples and the violets right now just to connect the other color wheel that I created by backing it with those same tones of paper. And you're gonna see, like, again, you're gonna see that I'm not even holding the brush properly, which is really sad, but I'm just adding splatters. Literally, I did not want something that was defined watercolor. Like I said, I added a little bit of water, I pushed the pigment a little bit, but not nothing very artistic. I wanted splatters. I wanted something messy. All I kept thinking about is watercolor, what's left over after watercolor. Usually when I work, you just see a little part of what it is. Like, you just see what's underneath the camera, but you don't see the crafter mat that's surrounded me. Especially when I'm working with mixed media, I have paper towels, I have a lot of things, and usually there's a little splatter place somewhere in my desk. So I'm gonna bring some of that into this layout, and you're gonna see that it's super simple media. It's all splatters. The only thing is I'm going kind of in a methodical way so that the colors don't muddle and become all purple. Sorry, not all brown. So you saw that I'm going to rotate my paper a little bit. I'm going to little sections, let them dry before I attempt to go the next color. That way I'm just going to make sure that the colors remain themselves and not muddle. And now I'm going to set it aside to dry. You're going to see that it's going to lighten a little bit, and that's okay. I soaked up a little bit of the extra liquid so that my paper won't get buckled. And but I let it dry on its own. So it took an entire morning to dry. It's okay. I'm okay with that. I came back later in the afternoon to continue filming. So all I'm doing right now is I'm adding a little bit of foam adhesive behind the parts of the color wheel that are back of the paper because I want to add the dimension to the page. And that's going to add the soft shadow that you see, and it's going to create movement in the page too. Once I have that in place, I play with a few ideas of what I wanted to do with the picture, and I decided to bring some of the green that I'm going to cover with my picture. So I'm bringing this paper, this is from the Reflections kit, and just has some of the green tones. Like I said, once I put my picture on this layout, it's going to cover that part. So it's going to be okay. I want to make sure that I have the color of the rainbow represented too. After that, you're going to see that I don't want the picture to dip. So I'm going to use the same foam adhesive just to kind of create, just to cover the part where the picture is going to sit. And then I'm just going to place the picture. I'm going to bring one of this is the die cuts from the Live Your Dream collection. I'm almost out of the die cuts. I love them. So I'm just going to put Celebrate Today. And I was thinking about bringing the black letters, but I didn't want to bring color. I already have the picture in black and white, and I want the color and the color wheel to show really nicely. And I think if I bring black, it's going to just take away from all of it. So instead, I'm bringing these alphas. These are from the Whimsical collection by Paige Evans. And I love the fact that they're really, really small and they have a rainbow of tones. So I'm going to bring some of those colors into this layout. And then I'm going to bring quite a bit of the embellishments for the same collection, just because it's all about art. So that you're going to see that I'm going to bring some aquarelle tubes, I'm going to brushes, I'm going to bring paper clips, I'm going to bring some little tubes of wash. This is all embellishments. I'm going to bring the little heart that's from one of the Pink Flesh Studio collections. And the reason why I'm bringing the heart is because it has purple and green, which is right in the area where I'm placing the picture. And then again, I went through my stash and looked from a collection. This is again from the Whimsical collection. I'm just going to bring more, I'm going to say embellishments that talk about art and creating. And I'm going to place the embellishments in a color blocking manner, so that wherever I have purples, I have purple embellishments. When I have blue, I have blue embellishments, and so on. But I'm going to keep it very simple. I want the color wheels and the watercolor that I added to do a lot of the work. Once I have that in place, I'm going to add a few lines of journal to the left-hand side of the picture. And I'm going to finish, I'm going to add a few drops of gold ink. Sorry, this is Color Shine from Heidi Swap. And that's about it. I love what this turned out. It's super simple. It did take a while to put together, and not because it's a complicated layout, but because I wanted the watercolor to dry completely and then my paper won't get buckled. And I hope you try it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Like I said, it's a super simple mixed media. You can go wrong. You're gonna cover a little bit with it with the color wheel. So don't be afraid to try it. If you have any questions, like I said, don't hesitate to contact me. Jump onto my blog so you can see a few more projects and join in the giveaway. Thank you so much for joining me, guys, and I'll see you back in a little bit. Take care, guys.